Who am I? Why am I here? At some point in our lives, we all ask these questions. Answers to these questions shape our lives and determine our destiny, and they reveal one of Satan's greatest traps. Frank made Christian educational software. His software won international awards, but it didn't sell. After millions in investment and 8 years of brutal work, Frank shuttered the doors of his failed company. Frank was devastated. He was sure God had told him to start that company. How could it fail? In fact, arrogance had fueled Frank's decisions for years. God had told him to start that company, but Frank got so far ahead of God that he was literally on his own. And the brutal hours working at the company drew him further and further away from God. When the company failed, Frank withdrew. He was broke, embarrassed, and he began to realize the horrible price his family had paid for his pride. He barely knew his kids, and his wife was upset that they were going to lose their beautiful home to pay his creditors. On one of his lowest days, Frank heard the still small voice he hadn't heard in a long time. He picked up his spiritual journal and looked at the last entry, over a year ago. He read, "The Westminster Shorter Catechism. What is the chief end of man? A man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy him forever." He read on. Jesus was asked, "What's the greatest commandment?" And he replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and with all your mind." Matthew 22:37. Frank bowed his head and repented, and then he began to talk to God like he used to. Over the next few weeks, God showed Frank how to put identity before purpose. The purpose God gives us becomes part of our identity in Christ. But the work that God gives us can never become greater than the relationship we have with God. The three great purposes of our lives are, first, to know and love God with all our hearts. Second, to let God transform us to become like Jesus. And third, to do the works that God prepared for us to do. These three work together to keep us balanced and focused. When you know who you are, you will know what to do. See all the videos in this 30 Days to Radically Shift Your Identity in Christ series in the playlist. A link is in the description of this video.